Hey everybody, Roy here. All things Yago with Roy. I've decided Wednesday nights is going to be all things self-practice. So tonight we're going to talk about alignment. We're going to talk about lines of force. We're going to explore the yield. I'm going to explain how it all works. I'll tease it out in some more postures. And really what I'm looking for you to find is that root and rise. The rooting is pretty easy. It's the rise that's more of a challenge. So I'm going to tease that out with you a little bit today. But from next week on, this is going to be all things yoga self-practice. I'm going to start to break down all the details of how to develop a self-practice. Excuse me. So the first conversation we're going to have next week is a reasonable approach to self-practice. What's a reasonable approach? How does a person approach to self-practice? What's the mindset they have? And how do they fit it into their everyday life? Then what is a self-practice? And then how do you take the practice off the mat into your everyday life? How does it all work? So that's from next week. So tonight is I want to explain a couple of things. It's a continuation of the conversation that we keep having. And it's fleshing it out more and more. So the more times you hear this, the better. So there are things that I'll say tonight that you already understand. But there will be things that I say tonight that you won't understand or you wouldn't have heard before. Or you will understand it, but you haven't seen how they were connected. And what I mean by that is we have alignment in the body. So the body works a particular way when it's working as one unit. So when we center ourselves and come into our center, we move through our center of gravity, and the body begins to work as one. So all the muscles are working in unison, all the joints are working in unison, the breath is working in unison with the body, our awareness is working in unison with the breath and the body. All the systems and functions in the body are working in unison, creating an equilibrium. So if you think about your center of gravity, is literally like that tone and release effect. Your breathing is a tone and release. Your heartbeat is a tone and release. A feeling and a thought, everything, we hold it and then we release it. That tone and then that release. And the balancing of all those different systems in the body is the equilibrium that we all look for, that sense of well-being. So, alignment. Now, where does alignment come from? What is the effect? What is affecting that? What is the external thing outside of our body that is affecting our alignment? Okay, and that's gravity. And gravity has an effect on us. Gravity has an effect on everything on this planet. It's drawn everything towards the earth, towards the ground of it, towards the surface of the planet. And at the same time, there's a natural rebound effect up. And that drawn down effect and that rebound effect that's the atmosphere with which we all live on in the planet. We live in that atmospheric space within the planet. And that's where life is. That's the because our planet is it's in the Goldilocks zone. It's where life can bloom and come to life. And within that sphere that's where we live. And the effect of gravity is constantly drawing us down. Now, if it was just going one way, it would crush us. But there's a rebound effect that comes back up, and that creates that space. So if you think about it this way, a tree has to grow down roots before it grows up. The balance of the tree is the stronger the roots, the bigger the tree, the greater the tree can grow, the more the tree can bloom. The stronger the roots is the more the tree can sway when the wind blows. If the roots are weak, it's easy for the tree to fall over. So the importance of being rooted and that effort down gives us a lift back up. And it's the balance of both is where our vitality is. So the rooting down and the lifting up sensation at the same time is what we call yielding. So we begin to yield in the root and the rise at the same time. So the rooting down is more obvious. It's the rising up is the one that's more subtle, and it takes more of a refinement. So we're going to look at how to refine that today. Where do lines of force fit into our alignment and then the yield? So as gravity passes through us, is the densest part of our body is our bones. So as we align our bones, is we get this lovely rooting down through our bones, and then we get this rebound effect coming up through our muscles. So the arches of the feet will lift. The lifting tones the muscles. It tones all the way up to the hip socket. Then it tones the pelvic floor, draws up. The trunk of the body draws in. The rib cage and chest has a tone to it. Across the shoulders, they sit down, but the neck lengthens up. So we're resting down through the bones, we're lifting up through the muscles. I could talk more detail, but I'm trying to give you a general level. I don't want to give too much detail now. I just want you to understand down through the bones, up through the muscles. Okay, now lines of force is look at how the body moves. Everything in the body is an expression of a circle. It's all circular in motion. So the way we move our body can increase the power within it. So the way we circle our body and move our joints, it gives us power. What do I mean by that? The hinge joints in the body, the elbow, the shoulder, the ankle, the hip, the swivel joint, the swivel joint. This is the hinge joint. Sorry, I got lost. Is the swivel joint in the wrist and the shoulder, the ankle and the hip. The neck is a swivel joint. The spine is a sequence of swivel joints. All these swivel joints in the body. Then you got the hinge joints. So the hinge joints are stabilizers, but these give us a lot of mobility, but they need to be stabilized. So the hands help stabilize the wrist, and to stabilize the arm is the elbow into the ball and socket joint of the shoulder, but the collarbone and the shoulder blade help stabilize the ball and socket joint. So there's the connection into the rib cage, and then the connection into the spine and into the core. When we get a clear line of support and stability through our muscles and joints all the way to the core, it activates a true line of force. All the muscles are working together, all the joints are working together, and it gives us strength. It gives us power. Okay. Now the same with the foot is the foot helps stabilize the ankle joint. The knee joint stabilizes the foot and the ankle. It also helps stabilize the hip. Or the hip socket is what stabilizes both legs is the control of the hips. So keeping the hips neutral or actively level is those subtle motions in the hips help stabilize the whole leg. So that gives us lines of force into our spine and into our core again. So there's the lines of force in the arms, lines of force in the legs. Okay, now when we stack the hips, the rib cage, and the head, like three balls, and balancing all three balls actively, what that does is that stabilizes our spine and all the swivel joints in our vertebrae, and it gives them that elongation. So the fifth line of force is our spine itself. And we begin to, as we stabilize those, it gives us power. So we get very strong when we resist down into the floor. But as that subtle lift comes up through, that subtle lift up through really begins to activate the tone. But what it does is that it gives us lift. It opens up the joints. It activates the muscles. And in that, you start to feel energy rising. If all we did was resist into the floor, we would get tired. If we allowed ourselves to then lift up through that, it opens up space. And in that space we got strength, we got mobility, it gives us our flexibility, but equally it allows us to breathe through it. So the more we're able to feel the tone in the body and breathe into it, is you start to feel your muscles working together. It's stronger. It increases your ability to hold a tone, but your ability to keep the space open and breathe allows you to relax into it. And it allows you to hold your focus and to then soften into the tone. And this is where our center of gravity comes in. Our ability to sway and have all our body working as one is you feel the tone, it increases, and then it decreases. It increases, and it decreases. So while it increases here, it decreases on this side. So you get this rolling effect of muscles spontaneously toning and actively releasing. It's not passive. It's never passive. Your center is always fluid. Therefore, your body is always active. But what you want it to be active in is your center of gravity, where it experiences tone and then active release. And that's very energizing. So when you activate your line of force, but you activate it within your center of gravity, it really does give you a lot of strength and power. It allows you to stay far longer in the tones of your muscle because you're able to breathe and stay free in them. You're keeping this space open. And that lets you breathe in, that lets you focus, that allows you to build your strength. And what you're looking for is to empower your body. Where if some muscles are overworking and other muscles are underworking, we can get in the struggle of power. We get into fight or flight. We focus on the things we like. We try to hold the power of those. We don't focus on the muscles that we don't like, and we disempower those. The parts of our body we like, yay, great power. Parts of the body we don't like, disempowerment. And depending on which one holds your focus, you're either going to feel powerful in your body or you're going to feel disempowered in your body. How do you break that cycle of that struggle within? Is to come into your body and have all of your body working together. And as you do, you get your strengths and your weaknesses empowering each other. Is you take your weakest points and you support them. And as your weakest points become strong, all boats rise on the tide. All boats rise on the tide. So what you do is you bring all your body into one place first, your center. So soften your knees slightly. Put about 4 to 6 inches with your feet. And what I want you to do with a slight bend on your knee is I want you to ever so gently sway around the 4 corners of your feet. And as you sway around the 4 corners of your feet, is you're going to begin to activate the arches of your feet. So the main one is the inner arch from big toe to inside of the heel. Feel the pads of the feet and the length of the toes. You've got a second arch, big toe to little toe. And if you take your heels out ever so slightly, you've got a third arch for your little toe to the outside of your heel. And you're swaying around the 4 corners of your feet. You're going to feel that connected sensation, centering, and at the same time, it allows you to come into your center of gravity. And as you're coming into the center of gravity, you're balancing out the 2 energies. Remember the yield? Remember gravity? You're balancing out gravity drawing you down. At the same time, you've got this beautiful rebound effect coming up through. So you've got the tone and resistance. Feel how your feet are pressing into the floor. Notice as you sway around the 4 corners, it's like a massaging effect. It takes you deeper into your feet. It takes you deeper into the floor. And you get that beautiful energetic exchange between your feet and the floor. But there's a rebound. The floor is literally coming up to support you as well. As the floor is coming up to support you, it gives you a lift. So notice as you sway around the 4 corners of your feet, it allows you to stabilize your ankle, and at the same time, you get this tone coming up through the calf muscle. It helps you stabilize your knee joint, your hinge joint, that you get this nice swaying motion around the joint. You feel your thighs, your inner thighs, your hamstrings, your glutes, and as you hold your pelvis neutral, you feel your pelvic floor draw up, you feel your abdominal wall and the trunk of your body engage. Okay? Now, if you're not sure about a neutral pelvis, stick your bum out a little bit like a duck. Now, very, very subtly, send the tailbone slightly down. And as you do, just small movements, micro movements, when you feel your pelvic floor draw up and your abdominal wall tone, without you even trying, that's you finding your center of gravity, your root, your center of gravity, and you're now getting in the root and the rise. You're grounding down, you're lifting up through. Now, I would have covered this in a bunch of other videos. Excuse me. If you've heard this before, well, that's the what of it. This is what we're doing. Now, think about how I've described it. Now I've described how it's happening. Do you understand? And the more you understand the how, I want you to do what you're doing now and know how you're doing it as you're doing it. And again, this is the focus for people who want to understand, not just, here's a class, here's a yoga class, that's the what. Okay, explain to me how I'm doing it and explain to me why I'm doing it. So that when I do my practice, I understand the bigger picture of it, and then why I'm doing it and how I'm doing it. Okay, so now I want you to breathe into your trunk. I want you to breathe into the sides of the rib cage and your upper chest. So just feel a bit of movement in your navel. So your abdominals, a little bit in your obliques, maybe a little bit in your lower back. Breathe to your intercostal muscles. Feel your intercostal muscles expand a little bit. Feel your upper chest expand a little bit, all in your own time. Now feel it on the inhale and feel it on the exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Feel it on three. It doesn't have to be a deep breath. It's just to feel all three areas on every breath. So what you're doing is you're breathing your full lung. But you're not breathing the full capacity of your lung. And you'll notice that different breaths are different capacities. Allow the capacity to be what it is. Some will be deep, some will be shallow, everything in between. But on all breaths, feel a bit in the navel, to the rib cage, to the upper chest. Okay? And that begins to bring you more internally into your body. It allows your senses to just draw in a little bit more, and you start to notice on your inner center, your inner body. And what do I mean by that? Is you begin to feel your center of gravity working through the core and the trunk of your body and feeling the muscles work from the inside out. So let's go a little bit deeper into that. Notice the pace you're swaying at. And what I want you to do is begin to breathe at the same pace. So there's that natural pace that allows you to feel the four corners of your feet. Okay, now notice that pace, and then as you inhale, and then you exhale. And notice that sway is like a pendulum. And as you sway, breathe in that same pendulum effect. And the breath, there's an inhale, there's a moment of pause, there's an exhale, there's a moment of pause, and that pause allows the breath to transition from inhaling to exhaling. Now the transition is a pause, it's not a stop. It's like the pendulum. Moment of pause, and then it changes direction. So notice as you're inhaling and exhaling, you're swaying around that natural pendulum motion. And really what it is the flow state. On other sessions, when we start teasing out how to do the flow state in the vinyasa class, this practice will become elementally important because you're going to layer it all the way through your body and then layer it all the way through your postures. And it's moving in alignment. How do you move in alignment? And how do you move in your flow state? So if you think about it, when you exhale, this is an exhale, this is an inhale, this is an inhale, this is an exhale. Every movement in the body is a reflection of your breath. Every breath in the body is a reflection of your movement. So as your breath and your body move in synchronicity in the flow state, then you transfer that into all the postures. And you're exploring your stability, your mobility, and your flexibility within the flow state. But that's other courses that will come in the future as we develop along. Yeah. So now, what I want you to do is, as you sway, I want you to breathe a little slower and a little deeper, just a little bit. And the reason being it's going to give you a deeper tone in your breath. It's going to give you a tone in your lungs. Your lungs are muscles. So as you breathe to your abdominals, is your lower lungs pushing down on the diaphragm, which is the base of the rib cage. Diaphragm pushes down on your internal organs, and then that expands the abdominal wall, the obliques, the lower backs, the trunk, all the muscles in the trunk, they expand a little bit. So your lungs are pushing down. So that's belly breathing. As you breathe into the middle of your lungs, you're expanding your rib cage. Now check that your hips and your rib cage are neutral. So remember, if you're not sure, your bum goes out a little bit like a duck and then send the tailbone down till the pelvic floor draws up. You feel the tone in your navel. Now the breastbone is see if you can feel your lower abdominals engaged. Now if you're not sure, prop your chest, stick the chest up, you'll feel them lengthen a little bit and they'll disengage a little bit. Now bring your breastbone down and you'll feel your upper abdominals engage a bit more. Now another way to do it, another way to test it is prop your chest again. So keep the chest propped. Now try to breathe into the sides of your rib cage. And notice how it's very restricted. You can't really get that sense of expansion in your rib cage when your chest is propped. So if the chest is propped, people have a tendency to overbreathe in the belly and then they go straight into the upper chest. And they don't really breathe too much into the sides of the rib cage. So when the breastbone comes neutral, there is your upper abdominals and you've got your lower abdominals. Your hips and your rib cage are neutral. So when you breathe to your navel, notice how you can breathe much more freely into your intercostal muscles. Now slow it down and let the intercostal muscles expand. Let the rib cage inflate a little bit more. Let the rib cage contract a little bit more. Now find the tone in that. Move at a pace that allows you to feel the tone of your lungs. And as you feel the tone of your lungs is pressing on your internal body, your internal organs, your internal muscles, the internal joints. It's putting pressure on them from the inside out. So as you inhale a little slower, a little deeper, notice how you can begin to control your center of gravity through your breath. It's the pace and the tone that you're breathing at. So now your breath is moving in that same tone and release. And this is where you get the energetics. Oh, there's look. I don't know whether you can see it on camera. I've got goosebumps all over my arms because when I activate this type of breath, I get that lovely clear transition of breath through my lungs, into my blood, into my body. Also the prana. I'm activating my life force consciously. I'm engaging with my life force. And I'm engaging with my energetic body and I start to move through the center of gravity of my energetic body. So I'm not just flowing in physical tone, I'm flowing in energetic tone. And you'll find that through the pace and tone of your breath. Now to open it up a little bit more, see when you breathe into the sides of your rib cage, you're going to expand. The rib cage floats up a little bit, just a little bit. And as it does, notice how the whole trunk of your body tones a little bit more. You actively have to keep the rib cage and pelvis level. So when the breastbone or when the rib cage expands, let everything lift. Careful not to let the breastbone pop. So the whole, everything from the base of the rib cage lifts up. And this is going to be important as we go into other postures because I'm going to get you to do the same thing. So as the rib cage expands, rib cage floats up a little bit, it elongates the spine. You get a subtle lengthening through the tailbone, but you get that lift move, the rooting down and the rising up. So all the space open up between your vertebrae and you get a greater tone in the trunk of your body. Now breathe that tone on the inhale and the exhale. So your breath is continually matching the tone of your body. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now this gets lost on, this isn't normally explained so in such detail in a class, and it gets lost in the gross activity of the muscles. When you're physically straining yourself so much, you cannot have this quality of engagement between the breath and the body. So this is really important. See this practice here? Is if you can do it here, well then can you do it in the next posture and the next posture and the next posture? That's the real practice. So that you always have to bring it to the lowest common denominator and then be able to do it there. So if you can do this in standing, can you do it in sitting? Can you do it in a forward bend? Can you do it in a twist? And you're layering it into your practice. So in self-practice, which is what we're going to get more and more into, is you take on one thing like alignment and lines of force, getting into the yield, is you establish that in baseline positions, and then you layer it into the rest of the practice. And it takes time because it's not just learning the what of it. I'm not just talking you through the what of something. I'm not talking you through a yoga class. I'm breaking down, like a workshop, I'm breaking down the how of it. Okay, now this is normally the conversations that are on yoga teacher training courses, and it's also the conversations that really should be had for people who want the true and genuine self-practice, that you're getting into the nuances of the practice and figuring out the how of it. And as you go more into the bigger picture of it, you understand the why of it. Okay, so you're expanding, lifts up, feel the trunk more, breathe into it, breathe that tone. Now as you breathe to your upper chest, is the lungs are small here. So you have to give yourself a little bit more time to expand your upper lungs. So as the chest expands, you get a slight lift in your collarbones. That takes the shoulders away from the ears, so you get a lengthening from the base of the skull, the length of the neck, all the way to the shoulders come away from the ears, it rolls the shoulder blade back. So your shoulder blades sit back. Think about this as your shoulder blades here. Your shoulder blades sit back onto the back of your rib cage. And because your rib cage is expanded, your rib cage meets the shoulder blades and they connect. So you've got this beautiful opening here. You've got this beautiful opening here. And as the shoulder blades sit back, you've got this beautiful opening of the back of your lungs between your shoulder blades and between your shoulders. They just open out. You get this beautiful opening. And again, it runs down the arm, extending from the armpit. You get this lovely release. And what it does is that while it grounds your shoulders, it gives you a beautiful release from the base of your neck, right through the neck to the base of the skull. You get this lengthening, this rooting, remember this rising, and all the way up through the top of the skull. So you come to stand in your full height, your true height. You come into the natural integrity of your body and you come into your alignment. And you're beginning to activate your lines of force, all because you're moving in your center of gravity. And then you're moving in that yield state. And this is the true practice. This is the true experience. Now, can you then apply that in other positions? In this position, in that position. Okay, now if you can do it in physical positions, then can you do it in energetic positions? Can you do it different energies? Can you ground yourself into all your energetic states, your emotional states? Can you ground yourself in all your mental states, all the states of mind? Can you raise energy up through them? Can you keep that space open? And then can you meet the edge of your body in this posture? Can you meet the edge of your energy in this emotional state? Can you meet the edge of your thoughts in this mental state? It's the same practice layered up at a more subtle level. So stability, rooting down, mobility, lifting up, and flexibility is opening out. So between stability, mobility, and flexibility that gives you adaptability. And what you're really learning the skill of is your ability to create space or to open space. And that has a very big effect on the quality of our life. Think about all the sensations in your body, the pleasant ones and the unpleasant ones. Emotionally the same, mentally the same, the pleasant and the unpleasant. Now imagine you had enough space physically, emotionally, mentally, to think about all the things you needed to think, to feel all the things you needed to feel emotionally, to physically feel all the things you needed to feel in your body. Now, this is really important in the way that you needed to feel them. So you let yourself feel them out. You let yourself think them out. You give your thoughts the space to work themselves out. the feelings and the sensations in your body. You give yourself the space to untie the knots, to work them out. So your ability to hold space is literally your skill of adaptability. And the more adaptable you are, is the more you can stay open to your experience. So then the pleasant can be expanded. The unpleasant is not so unpleasant. Because when you might be dealing with a challenge, you're doing it with space. And when you feel a sense of space, it's much easier to engage with whatever that is. And you can begin to recognize the difference between your hurt story and your truth story. What's real and what's not real. So you're letting go of the struggle because I've got space. I don't need to struggle. I can pay attention. Then I can figure out, okay, there's a hurt here. Is that hurt create separation? I break skin, I break a bone emotionally. I don't love you intellectually. Somebody you respect calls you stupid. That experience of pain is the experience of separation. That hurts. Now we can begin to look at what hurts, and as we move into it with space, it allows us to see what we need to see. That brings us back to connection. What do I need to learn that will allow me to reconnect here and to grow on that learning? Do you understand? And as you grow on that learning, now you're moving into a transformational state. You're moving in states of transformation. You're stepping through the stones of insight that is the story of your life. And you're following your truth story rather than the hurt story. And again, the more you step into those insights is when those insights come to life more and more in you, it becomes living wisdom. You're living the wisdom of yourself. You're in the knowing of yourself. And the important part in all that, this is very important, this is the why. When we talk about the why, is the how is really important. The what will only get you so far. Is going to classes and following the class is beautiful, it's wonderful, but it's the what. And it's really nice, but until you take ownership of the how, you're not really going to get the clarity of the why. Okay, so the how is really important. And the how means breaking things down, being willing to stay in things and to really look at them and really open them out. So break them down, look at how you build them back up, and then you layer them together. And you start to layer them into your life. So a simple example is you physically center yourself in your body. Now stay centered in every posture that you move into in your practice. Now center in every room of your life. Center with all the people of your life. Center in all the situations in your life. And what I mean by that is that give yourself one ground to stand on. So rather than being ungrounded in some rooms, feel like you're collapsing in other rooms and people, relationships, situations, you're under pressure, there's all the fight or flight, and sometimes we're trying to escape, and sometimes we're in quicksand, and sometimes we're just floating off the ground. Give yourself one ground. And then when you give yourself the one ground, that's where you engage with your life from that one ground. And the more that layers into your life is the power of grounding, the power of centering really kicks in. So you do the what of it, it's nice. You do the how of it, it becomes powerful. When you understand the why of it, it's everywhere. The one ground is everywhere. Do you understand? Now, the rise. You get this beautiful rise, your ability to lift up, your ability to bring energy up, because rooting down is your ability to bring energy down, open space. You want to open space upwards, you've got to bring energy upwards. So your ability to rise up through yourself opens up the joints, gives you mobility, energy flows more freely, and it moves into an open space. It gives you the ability to control the tone of your muscles. And we did this last week. You got this incremental increase of tone in your muscles. So 1 is minimal, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10, where I'm working my muscles to the max, to their limit, and then I have the control to hold it there. So I'm not going to 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, because that creates stress and tension. The muscles that have tension, they're working at 10, 11, 12 all the time, rather than having the ability to just do what they need to do and no more. But to do that is that the body has to stack It has to share the load, and then it has to keep transferring that load evenly around the body, spontaneously, your center of gravity. So your ability to increase the tone, reach its limit, and when you can hold all of the muscles in your body in 10, you're coming into not just the strength of your body, you're coming into the power of your body, because the load is shared equally. Does that make sense? So you become into a very powerful body, but part of that power is your ability to soften into it. So you have muscles toning, it's your ability to soften in, you're softening into your strength. As you soften into your strength, that's empowerment. Your muscles are getting stronger, but at the same time, your energy is rising. You're channeling energy up through you. That's real empowerment. If you throw yourself into postures and you punish your joints and you punish your muscles and your ligaments and you burn them out and you beat them up, you're ultimately disempowering yourself. You're making yourself weaker. Is you might think that I'm a fighter and yeah, I'm going to beat this. You're just beating yourself up and you're end gaming. And the question is, if you're end gaming, where the fuck are you going? Like, where are you going? Like if somebody's end gaming and they're throwing themselves into postures, if you watched them behave like that in their life, you'd see them running around frantically throwing themselves into things, and you'd be looking at them going, what are you doing? Where are you going? How's that going to work for you? Does that make sense? So pulling yourself back from the end gaming, well, you need to know why. Why would I do that? I get so much out of this. Like the no pain, no gain, it kicks in the adrenaline, and you get a buzz out of it. So why would I stop that? Well, if you pulled yourself back and gave yourself that one ground, that's very powerful. It gives you a connection. If you wanted the same level of intensity, okay, well then start to lift up through. Go up first. And now you're going to really begin to experience your power, because you're going to get all your muscles working together. So rather than end gaming and really punishing very few muscles, but really going at them, is now lift and get all your muscles working together and watch how intense that gets. And if you want intensity, go into the intensity of your ability to lift up through. In that, you're coming into real empowerment and you're raising energy. You're learning how to raise energy. Now think about this, imagine you were able to go into your weakest muscles and open space and raise energy. What would that be like? Now go into your weakest joints and you lift up through them, you open them out, and you get the energy flowing again. They feel stronger and more mobile. What's your vitality like? What's that like? Imagine that. Now think about all your emotional states. Imagine being able to go and be in your most emotional state, but at the same time, still feel open in it, still feel energy rising through it. And what it does is that it takes out the struggle, takes out the hurt, and it allows you to just feel whatever you're feeling. So rather than fighting it, you can be authentically in it. And you feel better for it because you're actually raising energy through it. It's letting you have the truth experience rather than fighting the hurt experience. Now that's your ability to stay grounded and raise up energy, create space, let the energy flow. Same with your thoughts, the same applies. Letting yourself think about whatever it is you need to think about, but giving yourself the space and actually raising energy through it. What does that mean at a mental level? Think about you being head wrecked. The times of your head is just, it's your negative state and it's where you feel most hurt or punished. Now imagine, even in that state, you were able to focus on where you were, what was happening, and as energy rises through it, is what that does. That creates space. It lets you see things in that you never saw before. You're seeing newness. You look with a little bit of new eyes. You see connections in it that you hadn't seen before. So you're seeing newness. And every time you see that connection, that's an insight. And that's giving you more insight into where you are, how you are, and why you are. And as you get that insight, that's connection. It brings you into yourself. It brings you into the connection of yourself. And in that, your consciousness is rising. Not just your energy level, but your consciousness is rising. So now imagine you're able to be in your weakest, inverted commas, mental state, and at the same time is you have your consciousness rising through it. You're grounded in it, you're opening space, and you're raising energy and consciousness through it. After a while, it's not so bad to be there because the struggle is out of it, there's less hurt in it, and then there's more just authenticity, sometimes just through how you feel. It's not a bad thing, it's just the way you feel at times. And what I mean by that is sometimes we just want to be alone. Sometimes we just want to slow down and let everything settle and just go into our caves for a little bit. The man cave. Oh, women do it too. Women like it too. But if we never allow ourselves to recognize, sometimes we just want that quiet time, is then that quiet time becomes a lonely time, and that lonely time becomes a distraction, and then we throw in a load of distractions to avoid that natural state. And then that become a battle in itself. And then once a week, once a month, when that natural state comes in, is we do everything we can to avoid it. Rather than just letting us just come to our ground, our stillness within, and then enjoying the richness of that place, enjoying our own solitude and the pleasure of it. As an example, you bring any state in, and I could tell you the same story, that there will be a truth in it where there's a rightness in it, and in that rightness is your authenticity. So now imagine that. Energy rising, consciousness rising. And then your ability to hold that is your flexibility, is your ability to stay engaged, keep the space open, and then live in the experience that it is, the intensities of it. So as you move into your body, it's the intensity of the tones of your muscles, is the working of them, and working of them to their limit in their lines of force, and then staying soft and relaxed in it, is to just let yourself move in that toned space, in the natural integrity of your body, in the energetic channels of your body. You're just flowing in them, and you're in them with a clear mind. And then you're just channeling your experience, your life experience. So now go and do the same thing in the rooms of your life. Can you ground yourself into every room, but can you also keep the space open and let the energy rise in you in that room? Let your consciousness rise in you in that room. So you're experiencing new sensations, you're experiencing new thoughts, and really those new thoughts is you're just noticing things that you hadn't noticed before. So rather than looking at the same thing and then telling yourself what it is all the time, is, well, look at the same thing, but see new things in it. There's more to the story. So what is that story? Where is that connection? So what's that new thing? And the same in your body. You're working through your body, is you're looking for new sensations, and then you're just exploring them. And as you do, you release out the kink, the knot in your shoulder. You release out the tightness in your back. You open out the hip. You get a bit more of an engaged tone in the trunk of your body, is that you're just undoing the knots that we created for ourselves. You get the gist? Okay, so I'm waffling on. It's an important story. It's the why. It's also the how, and it's also the what. Really, really important. And you're going to hear me talk about it a lot. And keep going through it in your own understanding, your own experience, until you have that story in you. You know the pattern of that story, you know the rhythm of that story, and then have yourself start to move in those lines of force. So now you're not just moving in the lines of force in your body, you're moving in the energetic lines of force, you're moving in the mental lines of force, because they're all the same. They're the same lines of force. And you'll notice certain states of mind within you become crystallized, because those states of minds are the ones that are constant in the center. So as you physically center, you energetically center, you mentally center, what you're doing is you're coming into the present moment in yourself. Your awareness of the moment is arriving. You now know that you know. You're now consciously in the moment. Now, the more you keep attuning to that consciousness of awareness will crystallize in you. It becomes one of the core filters of your being. It's how you view the world. And it's a crystallized form. There's a clarity in that. And your ears become more perceptive. Your subtle sensations and intuitive feelings in yourself become clearer. You're just moving that intuitive state. Okay, so it's very powerful. Okay, so maybe we should do some postures or do some movements. Okay, so I'm going to get you to have a go at this one. So this can be a real challenge for people, especially if you're not used to doing it. If you put your hands on the bottom of the rib cage, and you can keep the shoulders away from the ears, elbows back a little bit, nothing too tight up, but hands at the base of the rib cage. So what I want you to do is, again, just a little sway. I want you to breathe into your navel, your rib cage, and your upper chest. Now I want you to feel your rib cage expand and contract. So just take a couple of breaths in where you're just paying attention to that. Now as it expands, I want you to feel it lift up. And now as it lifts up, I want you to keep it that high. Once it expands and it lifts, what I want you to do now is keep your rib cage open. And keep inhaling and exhaling, but keep the rib cage expanded. Okay, keep it expanded. And while you're inhaling and exhaling, you're keeping your rib cage actively open. Okay? It's not easy. If you're not used to it, it's not easy. So if you need to, at one point, just exhale and just let the rib cage give it a nice little bit of a squeeze. And when you inhale, it expands. Feel it lift. And again, when you feel it nice and lift, you're going to feel the oblique muscles definitely working. So when the oblique muscles are working, you know it's up. Keep it open. You'll notice that you're toning your intercostal muscles. You're going to feel that the intercostal muscles really work, and you're going to feel work all the way around to the middle of your back. So you're toning the middle of the back and the intercostal muscles. Now keep them toned, keep them open, so your lungs are still breathing. It'll feel a bit restrictive in your breath, but it's just moving those tones and keep the rib cage open. And feel the obliques. Anytime you need to give yourself a break, and then back into it. Now what I'm getting you to focus on here is the rise. Keep the rib cage open and keep rising. Okay, and keep breathing. And the reason why I'm getting you to do this is a lot of times is at an unconscious level is the rib cage is collapsing a little bit. So if we're leaning into the lower back or the neck and shoulders are bunching a little bit, what happens is that the rib cage doesn't really get that chance to feel itself expanding. So it's always resting into the tightness of the contraction, not the openness and the expansion. And it's the openness and the expansion that gives you the lift. So you got to really work on this. You got to really tease this out. And you're doing it in a way where you're not distracted by your arms here and your legs there and everything else going on, and it just becomes too much. So now, can you keep the rib cage expanded, lifted, feel the obliques, and do it while you're inhaling and exhaling. You're actively keeping the chest open. Okay, now keeping that up, what I want you to focus on now is keep expanding and contracting, keep the chest open, breathe into your upper chest and your collarbones. Now take your time to do it nice and slow. As you breathe into your upper chest and your collarbones, is feel that the collarbones lift slightly. You feel the pressure here. If you're not sure, press just underneath the collarbones, press your fingers there and breathe into them. And as you exhale, keep the rib cage open. Breathe into the upper chest. I'm just going to lift the collarbone, shoulders come away from the ear, shoulder blades sit back. Okay, now put the hands on the hips. Now, hands are on the hips. Is press down, the elbows back and press down. And as you breathe into your rib cage and upper chest, again, feel that space between the hip and the rib cage open, and feel the space across the neck and shoulders open. And again, you're going to feel yourself breathe deeper into the back of your rib cage. You're going to feel the back of your rib cage going to expand and open. You're going to feel that spaciousness come across your shoulders. You get that sense of lengthening through your shoulder blades, right up through the base of the neck to the base of the skull. And you're working the hands down to help the shoulders now, the arms are helping you lengthen. Now you're still swaying around your center of gravity. Knees are slightly soft. You're using the natural tones in your body. The sway creates a tone, and then there's a beautiful release. So you're not letting the muscles get tired. And rooting, and then focus on the rising in the upper body. If you remember last week, we focused on the legs and the hips. This week, it's on the upper body. And I know it's only in mountain posture and standing, but if you can't do it in this, don't expect to do it in the others. So you gotta tease it out and stay with it. Now my feet are super hot at this point. We're swaying here. I'm rolling around the four corners. The energy I'm activating in the soles of my feet is they don't feel like they're on fire, but they're super hot. Big energy. Is if you feel that, stay with it. Let them get nice and warm. It's really nice. It's like a hot connection to the earth. Yeah. And just keeping that space nice and long. Keep this space open. Then this space opens, come away. Okay. Now from here is bring your hands together. Now what I want you to do is bring your forearms. Look at all the goosebumps. I'm goosebumping all over the place. Is bring your forearms level. So rather than down here like this, bring them up so they're the level with the elbows. Naturally it rolls the shoulders back. And then put your hands fully together, length of the fingers, knuckles, thumb, palm, butt of the hand. Now press them together as if you're resisting into the floor. Now feel how that tones the arms. Now roll the shoulders back, lengthen the back of the neck. And as you breathe into the rib cage, notice how this effort here draws the rib cage open more. It opens the rib cage and it opens the space across the shoulders. Shoulder blades get to sit back and down with it. So think of this. The shoulder blades, here's my neck, here's my shoulders, neck, my shoulders, here's my shoulder blades here. The shoulder blades come back and sit. They sit a little like this. They connect in. A lot of people think you pull the shoulder blades together. If I pull my shoulder blades together, this is what I'm doing. The shoulder blades go back and they sit, they cup my rib cage a little bit. Now it creates a tone between, see if I let them sit and come away, it creates a tone between my shoulder blades, so I get that toning of my upper back. If I pull them together, I'm compressing my shoulder blades, I'm compressing my upper back. So they're sitting back and slightly away from each other, they cup the rib cage, and that creates the tone. Okay, so as you press your hands together, you're rolling the shoulder blades back, and as they sit, again, it helps you open up your rib cage. So feel the rib cage open, breastbone and groin, keep it neutral. Is feel the shoulders go away from the ears, the neck goes long. Now breathe slow and deep into your rib cage and upper chest. So you're still breathing your navel a little bit, no over breathing in the navel. But breathe really slow and deep into the sides of your rib cage, the back of your rib cage, and the upper chest, and then the top of the shoulders, and across the back of the neck, and across the back of the shoulders. And basically what you're doing, hips are level, rib cage are level, head is level. Okay, now the head is level, there's a very subtle dipping of the chin. It's a tiny little thing. Really what you're doing is you're lengthening the base of the neck. So the back of the skull goes up slightly and it dips the chin. So lengthen the back of the neck, the chin slightly dips. That brings the head level. If you're not sure, you bring the chin up like this. You feel the neck shorten, then lengthen the neck and feel how the chin comes down until the head feels level. And breathe. And breathe. And just opening up the space between your rib cage and your shoulder blades and your shoulders, and as you open up that space, letting the spine go long. Now use the sway to help you engage the tone of the muscles, so that you're not getting locked into the muscles too much or locked into the joints here. You're letting yourself stay in that natural sway and flow. And also drop my arms slightly, so up they come again. Okay, now from here, we're going to take your hands out like this. Okay, so there's three things we're going to do. First thing I want you to do is bring your shoulders up to your ears. And now we're giving across our neck and shoulders and between the shoulder blades a little bit of a squeeze. Now take your shoulders away from your ears. So bring the shoulders to the ears, take the shoulders away from the ears. And just keep doing that in a nice rhythmical tone. So give it a squeeze and then actively release. So bring the pressure on and then flow the pressure off. And that you're just massaging and opening up that space with tone and release. So the next one, keep doing that, shoulders to the ears, shoulders away from the ears. Now lengthen from the base of the neck to the base of the skull. So away and then up through here. So now you're opening this space and you're lengthening this space. Okay. Now, if you start to feel it gets a little, the muscles get a little tired around the neck and shoulders, it's because you're massaging, you have the tension. That's okay. Keep going. Now, the third one, okay, my best double accent, the third one, okay, shoulders away from the ears, from the base of the neck to the base of the skull. Now extend from your armpit, right through the base of the arm, right through to the tips of the fingers, so that you get that beautiful extension. Shoulders away from the ears, neck long, and then extend from the armpit. You get a lovely extension of the whole arm. Let's do a few of these. Okay. Shoulders to the ears, away from the ears, lengthen the neck, extend from the armpit, right to the tips of the fingers. Now hold that extension. And a nice strong tone in the elbow and the wrist, right through to the tips of the fingers. Now you're going to feel the arms engage, but you're also going to feel the shoulders engage right across the shoulders, right across the upper back and the shoulder blades, all of it. You're going to feel it all. You're going to feel your chest, and do a little bounce like this. You're going to feel the chest work. You're going to feel down the obliques and intercostal muscles. Now keeping the breastbone level, careful with the prop. Breastbone and groin, chin, okay, there you go, and a little bounce and a little sway. And now breathe. Breathe deep into your rib cage and upper chest. Okay, now as it gets intense, if it's too much, in the sense of you're losing control, is look, keep extending from the armpit, keep the shoulders open and the neck long. Look, you can bring your arms down, but you're still in your alignment, you're still in your lines of force. And breathe. And just let that space open. Okay? Now if you turn your hands forward, okay, facing them forward, you notice that you can rotate your shoulders a little bit more. Rotate the shoulder blades back and down. But as the shoulder blades come back and down, draw the breastbone down slightly. As you roll the shoulder blades back and down, draw the breastbone down, and you're going to feel your shoulder blade and the back of your rib cage connect. It'll activate the whole upper back. You can still continue to extend from the armpit, shoulders away from the ears, neck long, and then breathe. Breathe. Stay with it. Stay with it. Okay, if it gets too much, look, lower the arms a little bit, but don't come out. But if you do need to come out, take a break and straight back in. Okay, so once you've eased off on it, straight back in again. Back into your lines of force. Stick with it. Hold your focus. Breathe. Now this one, rotate the palms upwards. So now watch this, there's the hand and wrist, there's the elbow and shoulder. So there's a rotate, see the whole thing rotates rather than just my wrist, the whole lot rotates. Now this is going to press my shoulder blades more firmly to the back of my rib cage. So I'm going to really draw the breastbone down. It's going to tighten my core. Notice how when you draw the breastbone down, your trunk gets really tight. You feel the core of your body. You might even feel your pelvic floor draw up more firmly. Okay, the neck is long. Again, so you're using this and you're activating your line of force, really keeping that shoulder blade connected to the rib cage, breastbone down, all the way to the core. If you do this, you should feel the obliques get really pumped. You're pumping your obliques, you're pumping your core, pumping your lower back. The whole trunk is working right through to your pelvic floor, right through to the soles of your feet. And come up through the top of your head. Now remember to breathe. To whatever tone you're feeling, breathe into that tone. Use the bounce to release the tension, to not fight the tone. Now we're going to do another thing. Okay, so this is, you got to keep this, is look how I'm slowly floating my arms up while I'm still bouncing, keeping the breastbone down, keeping the shoulder blades connected to the back of the rib cage, constantly feeling that connection. Okay, and keeping a nice strong tone in the arm all the way through to the tips of the fingers. So now the shoulder blade is staying on the rib cage. The shoulders are staying open, but look, I'm lengthening my arm. Okay, now don't worry about railway line. You don't need to be straight. This is close enough. Okay, now keep drawing the breastbone down and keep the back of the neck long. And notice how, again, you can feel the trunk of your body. You can feel right down the sides of your body, the obliques and the core. Okay, now this, I know it feels really strong. Stick with it. Let yourself feel those lines of force and feel the strength. And keep your sway, keep yourself breathing into it. I'm just playing around with it now, but it's keeping my tone. So holding it there, what I want you to do now, from the base of your rib cage, okay? The base of your rib cage, everything from the base of your rib cage lifts together. Okay, so everything from the base of the rib cage. So when we're going to lengthen now, the base of the rib cage, shoulders, arms, and head all lift together. It's not a big movement, but lift up the rib cage from the base. You get that lovely tone. You're coming into full extended mountain. But look how your shoulder blades and your rib cage are staying connected. It keeps the lines of force. And breathe, keep breathing. So draw the breastbone and the groin a little bit together. Keep the shoulders away from the ears and the neck long. And sway. Now keep doing this. Now imagine somebody's got a hold of your wrists. Two people have got a hold of your wrists, okay? And they're trying to lift you up. They've got your wrist and they're trying to lift you up. As they try to lift you up, I want you to resist. Now, as they try to lift, resist. Draw right down through your shoulders and come right up through the top of your skull. Yeah, right down through your shoulders, right up through the top of your skull, and breathe. And breathe. Whatever tone you're feeling, breathe into it. Meet the tone in your breath. Deep into the rib cage and upper chest. Let the trunk of the body work right through your pelvic floor, right through the legs to the soles of the feet, all the way down through the tailbone, right up to the top of the skull, right up to the fingers, but resist and lift. And you're activating the arms, the lines of force in the arms, the lines of force in the legs, and you're activating that line of force in your spine. You get that lovely lengthening of the spine and just the intensity of the tone. And breathe into it. And breathe. And breathe. Now, part of the challenge is when all of your body is working, stacked, and all the muscles are working together, it's quite intense. You got a lovely integral tone all the way through. Listen, as you see the sway, focus on the release in the sway. There's the tone, and then there's the release. And your inhale, there's your exhale. Now focus on your exhale, and as you do, come to the pause at the end of your exhale. Come to the pause at the end of your exhale. And come to that lovely stillness in it. This can be a metaphor. This physical intensity is your strength, but it's also a metaphor for the physicalness of life, the physical challenges of life. So your breath is this energetic breath. The breath that this takes for you to breathe in this is the metaphor for the intense physical energies and emotions that you're going to experience in life, and your ability to stay connected and stay grounded, to keep the space open to rise through it, and to keep yourself mobile. So all those subtle adjustments is keeping your adaptability. You're holding the edge of your intensity, your physical strength, your energetic strength, and then your mental strength. You're keeping yourself adaptable. So when the mental challenges come on, is you have the strength of mind to hold your focus and to stay engaged. And breathe. Okay? I forgot to say, if it's a bit too much, you can take your arms out a little bit. I forgot to say that. I'm guessing that you might be there already if you need to be, but that's okay. As long as you're holding the integrity, look, you're still in your lines of force. You're still in your core. If you do this, can you feel your core? If you turn your palms down, can you feel your core? Can you feel your core? Now, no matter where you go, can you feel your core? And that's the practice. No matter where you put your arms in any posture, your lines of force are connected to your core. That's the challenge. That's the edge that I want you to look for. So come away from the end gaming, is go right into your root, come right up through, and then explore the limits, but to do it, lines of force, and come into your real power. And we were just doing it in mountain posture today. And now let yourself just let the arms come down, a little soft knee. And what I want you to do now is just breathe easy and just let your arms hang. Let your arms hang. And let's see what happens. Let's see how those arms feel. Is now breathe again, still the navel, the rib cage, and the upper chest. And again, still take the time to let the chest open. Let the space across the top of the shoulders naturally come in. Feel the weight in your arms and let the weight of your arms just draw all that tension out. Draw all that effort, just let it just flow out of you. And let your eyes close and then just breathe and just let it release. And don't be surprised if you find that your muscles in your arms, your muscles around the shoulders and chest, your upper back, they're all toning. There's a pump in them. There's a vitality in them. There's a tone in them. And focus on it, and then I want you to just let yourself sway in it. I want you to breathe in it and focus on the release. Focus on the release and just breathe. Now, it's not always that you will need to do this type of practice, but it's a really good practice to do where you're challenging your stability, your mobility, the root and the rise. Is you really want to bring the root and rise into the clarity of your physical experience, into your breath, get it crystal clear in your mind, and the integrity and the intensity with which is required. It's easy to flop in postures. It's easy to throw yourself endgaming into the posture and just push and mindlessly just throwing yourself into things. It's easy. It's easy to hurt yourself. It's just all easy. As much as it's intense, it's not complicated. All you do is throw yourself into things. It's just a discipline in pulling back, holding your ground when you know it's the truth. When you know the truth of lifting up through, and the effort and the focus and the concentration and the intensity that takes, is holding that and then opening yourself out. And incrementally is looking for those edges of intensity and then softening into them. So normally what happens when I teach people this, you get hit with the wall. And the wall you get hit with is when you start to use all of your muscles at once. Even if you do a low level posture, standing, in mountain posture, but when you use all your muscles at once, even in a standing posture, it's just like a wall that just hits you. Boom. Oh my God, this is strong. Now, look at the tools I'm showing you. Stay centered. Stay in your center of gravity. Find your breath. We're looking at ways to keep the space open. As you root down, it's going to make it stronger. It's making it stronger. I know, but go for the lift up, because that creates space and lets you take the intensity. And what do I do when I open up is breathe into it. That gets the energy flowing. So when you find your breath in it, it allows you to take on that strength of real tone. You really come into the true strength of your body. You're finding the true strength of your body. And if we're not used to that, being met with your true strength sometimes can be intimidating, because it's so intense, but yet you're able to do it. It can be disconcerting. Why? Because it makes a lie of a lot of things. You say, I can't do it. Yes, you can. I can't do it. Yes, you can. You are doing it. Look, it's going to hurt me. No, it's not. Endgame is going to hurt you. This isn't going to hurt you. But will it be uncomfortable? Yes. Will you struggle with it? Yes. Do you have to find your ground in it and find your power in it? Yes. But are you truly hurting yourself? No, you're not. And when you realize that, it calms the mind. Then you say, well, I don't want to do this. Or why don't you want to do it? Because it's too hard. It's not too hard. And the truth is, you do want to do it. And your body wants to do it. Your energy levels want to do it. Your emotions want it. Your state of mind wants it. Everything that is you wants this. So when you say you don't want it, it's only because of the intensity and the challenge of it. But when you accept that you do want it, is then you stop telling yourself that I don't want it, or I can't do it, or it's going to hurt. So there's these layers of resistance that you go through. And then think about putting down the struggle, putting down the hurt story is one of the first things you got to figure out how to do is to stop struggling. So when you stay in this is why I keep people in it. When you stay in this, all your struggles are going to present themselves. All the reasons why you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, you don't want to, all the reasons why to come out of it or not do it are going to come up. And you have to see the lie of each one of those. And it's not a lie of you point the finger at yourself and punish yourself for it, is you see the lie of it so that it allows you to put the lie down and then to step into the truth of it. And when you get right down to the truth of it, is what if you give yourself a reason not to do it, all those reasons come down to one simple thing. What you're really saying is, I won't. I can't, I'm going to hurt myself. You go through a whole range of them. At the end of the day, when you pull all those ones out, what's left is a simple choice. You either will do it or you won't do it. And if you choose to not do it, basically what you're saying is, I won't. And then there's a responsibility in that, and there's a consequence in that. So you have to decide on what way you're going to lay your responsibility, and are you willing to accept the consequences of I won't? Where if you accept the consequences of I will, is then you're finding that place in yourself where you're basically saying, well, I'm not going to struggle with this anymore. If this is what I've decided to do consciously, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to give it my full attention. I'm going to bring in my real power. And then it all simplifies. It all simplifies. You stop struggling. You find ways to soften into it because you've put the struggle down and you're moving more and more into the power of it. So there's that's a big part of self-practice and teasing out a yoga practice. And it's a big part of getting past the what. So many people are doing their yoga practice and they're doing the what of it. And they want that deeper experience. They want the how, they want the why. But within that challenge is that they got to go dig deeper. They got to go into themselves more and get to that place in them that wants the how and that wants the why. So the putting down the struggle is a big part of that. And the putting down the struggle is recognizing that all the reasons why you won't do it are down to one thing. You're basically saying, I won't. And when you recognize that I won't, now you're getting right to the nub of whether you will or you won't. Now, will you or won't you stop struggling? I will stop struggling. Okay? Now make the decision and get on with what you will do. Now, will you hold your center? Yes, I will. Every time you find a reason then to come out of your center, you know the lie of it in yourself. You know that it's not true. So it makes it much more difficult for you to be convinced of your own lies. And again, I don't mean that rudely. We all go through this. There's not one person who isn't engaged in this in some form. But it's very important that we don't let our own struggle justify itself. We need to put the struggle down and then step into the connection. What's my truth here? Not my hurt. What's my truth? Okay, so this is why I hold people in things like this, is because it really lets you get the physicalness of it, but it also helps you qualify and clarify the energetics and the mental. So you're getting yourself all in alignment. So you're getting that clarity so that when you do the work, you're getting the maximum amount out of it. So while it might seem slow and difficult at the start, is once you get the hang of it, is the power really kicks in. And once you start pulling those threads have many stories that you bind together. And then you're on the real journey into the how and why of yourself. It's not just what am I or who am I, but how am I and why am I? And once you just get used to pulling those threads and binding them together, that's the power. It starts to kick in. It's super duper. Okay? So from here, I think what I'll do is I'll just give you a nice relaxation. So if you want to lie flat on your back, lie flat on your back, let your feet rest out, let your hands rest out. And let's see where we go from here. Just checking the time. So let your feet rest out, let your hands rest out. Take a moment to just close your eyes. Take a quick scan of your body. Make any adjustments you feel you need to do. And then I'm going to talk you through a nice relaxation. So first thing we're going to do is a pick up and a drop, where we pick up different parts of the body, barely off the floor, half an inch. We're going to give them a squeeze, and then we're going to let them drop. And it's a non-verbal communication to your body. You're telling your body, I'm letting go. Okay, so I want you to inhale and raise your right foot slightly off the floor, half an inch. Now point your toes away from your body, curl your toes back towards your head, push through your heel and drop. Let it fall. Now, if you're not willing to let it fall, it's because your foot's too high. Don't lift so high. Inhale, raise your left foot slightly. And point your toes, curl your toes back towards your head, push through your heel, and drop. Let it fall. Now inhale, raise both hands slightly. And make a fist, stretch out your fingers, and drop. Inhale and raise your hips. Get your backside up off the floor. Give it a squeeze, and drop. Inhale and raise your chest. Chest up, shoulders down. And drop. Inhale, squeeze your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, pushing your shoulders all the way down to your hips. And relax. Inhale, gently rolling your head to the right. Exhaling to the left. Inhaling to the right. Exhaling to the left. And inhaling back to the center. And again, do a quick scan of your body and make any adjustments, anything that will allow you to be more comfortable. And what I'm going to talk you through is I'm going to talk you through the root and rise in Yoga Nidra, in relaxation. And the difference between sleep and Yoga Nidra, yoga relaxation, is in sleep, is your mind goes to a place of the unconscious, where in Yoga Nidra, your body goes to that deep place of rest where you go to when you're asleep, but your mind stays awake. And the same energetically, you can let the energetic body sleep, you can let the thinking mind sleep, and yet consciousness is rising, consciousness is expanding. So I'll talk you through it. So again, you're lying still, and again, make adjustments as you need to do along the way, but ultimately you're lying still. And think about it, the last thing you do before you fall asleep at night is you lie still. You get into bed, you shuffle about, you find your spot, you lie still, and then you're off. So you're putting yourself in an immobile position. So just allow yourself to be in that state. And then observing your body in that state. And then what I want you to do is just begin to breathe ever so slightly slower. Just feel a little bit of movement in your navel, your rib cage, and your upper chest. And notice when you inhale, it draws you into your body, you're expanding into it. As you exhale, you find yourself letting go into your inner body. You get that lovely letting go sensation. And on every exhale, in your own time, notice some part of your body lets go. And your body spontaneously knows how to center. So as you exhale, observe how some part of your body lets go. You won't know until it's actually letting go. And when you feel that lovely release, just go with it. And it could be a leg, it could be an arm, it could be a head, it could be anything. But go with it as it happens. So that when you inhale, I want you to then open into the part of the body that you let go of. And as you exhale, see if some other part of your body lets go. It will, but just let it surprise you. And what you're doing is you're observing your body as your body is telling you its story of letting go right now. It's right now the story of letting go. And every time you exhale, some other part of your body's going to let go. And gradually you're going to feel the weight of your legs, the weight of your arms, the weight of your torso, the weight of your head. Your heels will spread into the floor a little bit more. Your calves, your hamstrings. will spread into the floor, your glutes, the back of the pelvis, your back in particular, the back of your rib cage and your upper spine, your shoulder blades and your shoulders, your upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist and hand, and the back of your head all begin to feel heavier and more connected into the floor. And you get this beautiful release in the muscles. You get this beautiful letting go in the muscles. You also get this lovely release in the joints. There's a little bit of spaciousness. The pressure is off them, and the joints will just begin to release and open. And at one point, you're going to get this beautiful dropping sensation, like running, going down, not running, but the flowing sensation of going down an elevator. Is you get that lovely flowing motion, and then allow yourself to just go with it. And what's happening is that all of your body is beginning to release together. So as you inhale, you're opening up your inner space. As you exhale, you're rooting down, you're letting go into your inner space. And you're going to feel your skin spreading out more and more into the floor, your muscles softening into the floor, your joints opening into the floor. At one point, you just feel your body connected to the floor. Now, a lovely way to test this in a very easy fashion, you don't need to think about it too much. Turn inwards, follow your awareness inwards, go down into your body and go to where your body is touching the floor. Now, without moving, where does your body end? Look for where your body ends and the floor begins. Without moving, where your body ends and the floor begins. And rather than finding a difference, you find a sameness, you find a connection. And that's you physically and energetically rooting yourself. And when you come to it with awareness, you're mentally centering yourself in awareness itself. And then that beautiful breath that just flows in that connection. The beautiful connection between the body and the floor. That's gravity. That's the part of the yield, the root and the rise. It's the rooting all the way down to your place of rest. That place of rest in your body. That energetic, emotional place of rest. That mental place of rest where you're not your thoughts. You're just the observer of your thoughts. You're the awareness itself. And you're resting into that center. Now that connection between your body and the floor, I want you to imagine that it's like a door. That every time you inhale, the door opens a little more, and every time you exhale, you're letting go of all the excess tension. And that tension is from the gravity. Gravity is pulling you down. The more we fight it, the more it compresses us, the more we get tight, so that when we open up, we let gravity move through us freely and out the door into the floor beneath you. And what you're doing is, as you let gravity flow through you freely, you're also letting go of your tension. And gravity is doing the work. So that when you inhale, you open the door a little more. As you exhale, more and more of your excess tension is released. All you're left with is the natural integrity of your body. That spontaneous vitality in your body is left. So you'll notice that you feel like you're sinking into the floor, like you're lying on a soft mattress. I'm guessing you're not on the mattress. I guess you're lying on your sitting room floor or your bedroom floor, and it's quite solid. But yet it feels like it's a soft mattress, like you're being cupped. Remember, gravity's drawn us down, so the body's coming down towards the floor, but there's that beautiful rebound. The earth is coming up to meet us. It's just more subtle. And as the earth is coming up to meet us, when we tune into it, it feels like we're being cupped, like we're being held, like you would hold a baby in the stability, the security, but also the openness of it. So notice how you are letting go of the heaviness of your body and you come into the spaciousness. You're just in that beautiful spaciousness, and then feel the floor cup your body, and then feel the floor carry your weight. So you're getting lighter and lighter. And we were doing this last week, or was it not? The restorative class last Friday, I was getting people to float with the floor, to come into that lovely bounce and root and rise where you feel like your body's getting lighter and lighter. So now feel yourself being cooked, so that when you inhale, you feel the expansion. Feel the expansion in your navel, your rib cage, and your upper chest. You feel the energy rising through you. You feel like you've got this lovely expansion and lift. So when you exhale, what I want you to do is exhale and just let go into the lightness. Let go into that sense of lift and expansion. Let the floor cup you and lift you. It's a lovely flowing sensation. It's a nice way of describing it. If you can feel like you're like a pond resting on the earth, then you can feel like there's a flow of energy in it. You're moving in the floatiness of the water, and then the current becomes a bit stronger. You're flowing in a river, and then you find yourself in this lovely swaying motion of the ocean itself. You can feel like you're swaying like waves in yourself. That's your energetic body, and the energy is rising through. You're just being carried by the waves. You can even feel yourself go beneath the waves and just feel the beautiful depths of current of your energetic body. Just the ocean of energy itself. You can go back up to the tips of the waves, and then you can imagine being a splash. And as you inhale, think about the splash going up into the sky, and then the mist, and you become lighter and lighter. You begin to float in the air, and you get lighter and lighter, and you begin to float higher and higher until you become a cloud. And you just find yourself just floating so lightly in your body. That's that subtle rise. That's the root and the rise. So let yourself inhale, and then as you come nice and lightly to the peak of your inhale, let yourself just flow in that beautiful peak, like surfing the waves of lightness in your body. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's blissful. It's beautifully blissful. And in that, notice on the exhale, there's that wonderful letting go. On the inhale, there's that beautiful lightness. And in between the letting go and the lightness, you've got this beautiful spaciousness in between. And just allow yourself to breathe that beautiful inner spaciousness, physically, energetically, and then mentally. And in that wonderful spaciousness, just place your presence of being, put your awareness, and allow your awareness to just radiate. Just allow it to permeate. And it's just beautiful. So for a couple of minutes, just allow yourself to just float in that wonderful space. And you're mastering your inner space. And breathe. And enjoy the waves. Now continue on. Now, that's such a nice experience. I want you to just continue in that until you're ready. Is you can just stay in that beautiful experience for as long as you want. I'm not going to bring you out of it. I'm going to close the session now, but I want you to continue on. And if it goes on for a minute more or 30 minutes more, just let yourself enjoy that beautiful experience. And when you come out of it, just put your hands together and a little bit of a thank you. Thank you for being here. Love the experience, and I'll see you again. Thank you.